Hi, my name is Jenny. My topic is on the multi-state outbreak of human salmonella infections linked to dry pet food. So, some background information about the disease. Salmonella is a bacteria. It is classified into serotypes, and it was first discovered in 1885 by Dr. Daniel. Salmonella can lead to fever, diarrhea, and abdominal cramps that can last up to 72 hours, and it is transmitted by eating contaminated food, feces, or infected animal produce such as beef, poultry, meat, milk, and eggs. Some background information. In Pennsylvania, the public health officials, along with the CDC, were reporting links between salmonella and dry pet food produced by Mars Pet Care. In fact, they found in 2007 that there were 26 cases in Pennsylvania, and more cases were found in 17 other states. 79% of the people from those cases had reported that they had come into contact with a dog, or they had informed public health officials that they owned a dog. The current situation is the outbreak that is associated with dry dog food production. The strength is that they had conducted environmental testing, and the FDA had examined salmonella strains in unopened dog products. The weakness is that many people had already come into contact with the dry pet food, so exposure was inevitable. The pets were consuming the treats and becoming sick, and then the humans were becoming infected simply by touching the dog food and forgetting to wash their hands, touching their face, or touching their mouth. The opportunity is that we can raise public awareness of the infection. In 2007, Mars Pet Care US announced the voluntary recall of select bags that were contaminated with salmonella. The threat is that not all products were recalled, so essentially, exposure to salmonella could have still been prone. The bags could have come into contact with other items, and people could still become infected. Step 3 is to prioritize core issues. The main group to prioritize for this case would have to be children and the elderly. Children and the elderly are considered to have weak immune systems, so it is important that we protect them first. 70 individuals that were infected in 2007 had included children, and in fact, the average age was 3 years old, and 39% of infants were infected with salmonella. So it is important that we prioritize our children and the elderly, specifically children, because they are smaller and they tend to explore their environments a little more, so they can come into easy contact with bacteria and infections. Step 4 is to analyze the alternatives. For the case of Pennsylvania, like mentioned earlier, they conducted environmental testings, and the FDA discovered the strain of salmonella by examining the food products that were created by Mars. Some other two approaches can include the environmental monitoring of the products. It is important that the US FDA regulates the safety of food for animals and humans, and it is also important for pet owners to visit the vets, take their pets to checkups, especially during outbreaks. It is important that we ensure that the pets are healthy and they are not prone to any type of infection. Some recommendations include the CDC recommends actually that people wash their hands at least 20 seconds with warm water and soap. It is also important that they wash their hands before preparing food and after eating. And it is also important that we keep children and infants away from dog food and feeding areas. The action plan is going to obviously include all type of individuals, adults, children, corporations, and government policies. There should be a continuous surveillance of salmonella in food products. As mentioned earlier, Mars only stopped the production of certain products, so it is important that other products that they make also are free of salmonella. It is important that we rely on good hygiene, people know how to properly handle food, and infants are not coming into contact with dog food. For such reasons, it is important to educate the public about salmonella. It is important that we teach them what it is, how it affects people and animals, and how we can minimize exposure. The FDA should also establish regulations when it comes to handling food and other products. Step 7 is my opinions. In my opinions, I think that all factories and products that are linked to salmonella should be completely shut down. This is the best way to minimize other products from becoming exposed to salmonella. I also think that adults should be more cautious of their children. They should be making sure that children aren't putting things in their mouth, or specifically dog food. People should also become more educated about hygiene practice, specifically washing hands. And the FDA needs to be more attentive of production of food for both animals and humans. And that is the end of my presentation. Thank you so much.